This is the Ute, the utility vehicle. And we can see around the front here it says something like Toyota. I'm not saying Toyota is the best vehicle in the world, but it's a heck of a long way from the worst. This must be about my 7th or 8th new Toyota. On the front there we can see 2 antennas, thick black one, that's that one. That's a UHF CB antenna, very handy on the roads here. And on the other side, that's a UHF VHF amateur radio antenna. And the little nudge bar on the front is there for no other reason than to mount the 2 antennas. Looks good, useful as a hip pocket in a sock. In Australia, we drive on the left-hand side of the road, so therefore the steering wheel is on the right. And looking into the driver's cockpit, we can see there's just enough room for a tall bloke like me. And getting down to have a look, keys in the ignition, of course. And moving down to the business side of things, aside from a big gear lever in the road, there we have the microphone and the TYT UHF VHF radio. It's turned off at the moment, but we'll do some white fella magic. And the bells and whistles are telling us that things are turning on. That's the motor vehicle display screen. Just about everything you want to know with what's happening to the vehicle is displayed on that screen, including playing the music. Moving up there we can see the street finder. Directly above that, it's a full-on general purpose GPS unit. Alongside it is the Sony video camera, and that's where it normally sits when we're travelling down the road. Doesn't move from there. Without going into the technicalities, it's locked into position but can be picked up with one hand and taken out. And above, looks like a rear vision mirror, but it's not. It does have the functions of a rear vision mirror, but it's in fact a screen, LCD screen, which is currently being used by the rear camera. It's a dash cam, and the dash cam operation is obviously in the front. The front camera and the rear camera are both recorded at the same time. Down here in the more or less middle area, that's the CB microphone. That's the trailer brake arrangement, electric brakes on the trailer. And here in behind, we can get down there a bit, there we go. A couple of speakers, one for the TYT and one for the CB. TYT radio unit is there. On the right is a general 12 volt DC power outlet, and above that is the CB radio. And the passenger on some occasions gets to sit in that seat. This is a general view of the insides of the big box. The lovely little pink bits hanging out there, that's to protect my head when I go hunting inside, and the box is pretty well full. I got sick and tired of scraping my head on that shelf that's built in there. Looking into it, well, general purpose area. I always keep a chair in here. You never know when you're going to need one when you're travelling around. And there's a couple of hats and stuff tucked away in there as well. The blue lid black box contains all amateur radio bits and pieces, cables, feed lines, antennas, all that sort of stuff. The yellow lid box, that's a general mechanical toolbox, and the number of times it's required when you're out in the scrub would actually surprise you. And the blue box is my electronics toolbox that carries all the bits and pieces for making on the side of the road maintenance and repairs to radio and other electrical gear. And it's sitting on top of a 200 amp hour battery, which you can just see the end of. Above there, the lower grey device with the white knob on the side, that is the solar inverter and 240 volt converter. Solar is up on the roof of this box, and it charges that 200 amp hour battery. The 200 amp hour battery does in turn supply back to this converter and gives me 240 volt power supply at 1000 watts continuous. Below that is the 4-plug outlet for the 240 volt AC power. And below that, these are the inputs, 240 volt. Currently it's plugged into the inverter, and alongside it is shore power, which has a plug on the outside of the box so I can plug in if I'm at a caravan park or similar. On the left, the big white knob provides power to the system from either the house batteries or directly from the crank battery of the utility. It's a marine switch. I've been using them for many years, decades in fact. Excellent devices. And these four, which are high current 12 volt outlets, but I have some smaller plugs plugged in because they get more use. And down there is the battery voltage indicator. And last but not least, when all else fails, I plug a 12 volt generator in there. We'll get to the generator later. So that's it for the driver's side of the vehicle. Oh, we can have a look up here if you like. There we go. That's a flat bed arrangement, not for sleeping on. It simply carries mattresses and other long gear that need to be under lock and key at all times. On the back on this side are cables, power cables, etc. And there's a light hanging up there as well. For nighttime use, looking right along, there they are, a row of LED lights, brilliantly bright. Moving around now to the other side, there's more power cables up there, a ratchet tie-down strap, never know when you need one, and of course the other side of that little carrying space, and another row of LED lights. Down to the front of the vehicle, a 40 litre refrigerator, 12 volt and 240 volt, and it will run on the 200 amp hour battery for 2 days without charging the battery. But having said that, the battery is constantly in charge from, I'll just shut the door, and there is the end of the 250 watt solar panel. Above it we can see 1, 2, 3 carrying racks. These are for carrying long lengths of whatever, whenever as required. Very often masts for the HF radio antennas are carried up there. And one other little thing back here at the rear. There is a winch going up to the top of the vehicle there, and look very closely underneath the winch securing yoke. There's a little black square, and that little black square is the rear vision camera, totally unseen by anyone behind. On the tow bar down there, when I want to put the antennas up, I fit a stub antenna point, and it's bolted on there and remains there when I travel. And it is hinged, it lays down flat, and when it's up, it's bolted in the upright position. And the extra lengths of antenna pole are fitted in, sort of plug and socket style, and it gives me a total height of 8 meters. And up the top there is this little jobby. It is another awning which rolls out to the side of the vehicle, has 2 support legs carried inside there, and it makes a shade 3 meters by 3 meters. Very handy when you just want to shade for a short term. Well, there we go, people. That's the Ute. Sometimes in Australia we call these things the U-Butte. We have a big rhyming slang language in Australia, and because the vehicle is U-Butte, that term gets used for Ute. U-Butte means it's absolutely wonderful. Butte is just short for beautiful, and U is, of course, well, not you exactly, but the vehicle. The vehicle is a wonderful thing for what I do with it. Doesn't suit everyone. As I said, it's a bog standard vehicle. It's what's known as the poverty pack, which means it has no bells and whistles, no flashing lights, no dancing girls. It's just the plain, ordinary utility vehicle. Here we are in the shed, and here's the trailer. Had this one for about 2 years now, and all I can say is it's a darn jolly good piece of gear. Fairly big, but there again, when I use it, I go away for a fair while at a time. The aluminium box has got all the awnings and pegs and pins and hammers and all that sort of stuff that you need to make the area around the unit comfortable. There's a 9 kilo or 20 pound gas cylinder in there. That's the service cylinder. And moving down the side is 2 containers, each of 25 litres capacity for potting water. And as we go down, we see the black round under chassis water tank filling unit. You just stick a hose in there from the nearest available tap and you can fill up the water tank. And next to that is a small 4.5 kilogram gas cylinder, which is used specifically for emergency use only. Let's face it, you only ever run out of gas when you're using it. Around here at the rear of the trailer, we can see that it was made by a mob called Jono's Campers. He made absolutely excellent camper trailers. The only trouble was he made them so good, his opposition built cheap and nasty ones, and fickle-minded people bought those and didn't buy top quality stuff like this. I could never have afforded such a trailer when it was new. This one is about 12 years old. I've had it for 2 years, and I got it at a very, very low price, and it is in absolutely perfect A1 condition. This is the little kitchenette on the back of the camper trailer. 4-burner stove there and a griller inside. No big oven as such, but hey, when you're out in the scrub you don't really need to roast an elephant, do you? Kitchen sink, nice size, well drained, little drain board on the side, all the normal drawers there, and a drop down cupboard. And not fitted at the moment is another tray which clips on here onto those two cleats. It has a supporting leg system. There is a detachable gas line device so that I can run a separate camper gas unit, cooking unit, and that fits on there. It's not there at the moment. It's stashed away under the trailer, but it's about 650, 700 mil long, which for my American friends is around 2 foot, 2'6" or something long. Not much to see up the big black hole, but we'll look under there shortly from another angle. And just moving around here, there's a door partially opened. And down there is a 80 amp hour battery and all manner of charging equipment. This battery has its own self-contained solar unit, which is not set up at the moment. In there, behind all that junk, is the little inverter to hook the battery up, and that little battery there keeps any small 12-volt gear running if I want to disconnect the ute from the trailer and go driving around the place. Sometimes I park a fridge down here near it, and the fridge needs to be kept running, and it's kept running by that battery. That battery also provides all the LED lights, and the next time I fit the trailer up, I don't know where I'll be, but the next time I fit it up, you'll see what it looks like. Now, I'm not real good at doing this one-handed, but there we go. There is the in-tray storage area. The white box here is in a slide-out tray, bit difficult to see there, but it slides out through there. There's a door at the end of that little hole there, and that opens out inside the tent when it's up. And this area here is generally filled with whatever bits and pieces, bibs and bobs and extra stuff that gets taken along on a long camping trip. Long for me can be 2 to 3 days. It can be 2 to 3 weeks. Those two blue boxes, the big one in front has pots and pans and all the necessary gear for cooking. The smaller one in the rear there has packaged dry goods for food. And of course, that's a rubbish bin. You always need a rubbish bin when you're out. Well, I do anyway. Dispose of the rubbish the best way that's ecologically correct. Not that I'm a bark-kissing, tree-hugging greenie, but unlike pigs, I don't like to poo in my own nest. So there we go, that's the trailer. And in due course, you'll see it set up out in the scrub somewhere. I have places in mind, but we'll leave that for future vlogs. Well, there you go, folks. That's the rig I travel in. I hope you see more of my rambling around the countryside as time passes. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons and leave a comment. Till next time, it's cheers for now.